The only problem are those little pieces of rubber that DJ was talking about.
Yeah, but as DJ said, that's a small price to pay, because the big thing is there's dirt and sand under here. It's not concrete underneath like there is on artificial turf.
Hepner, the kicks off, and that's Tony Horn at about the 10-yard line. And that's the beginning of all that speed, Tony Horn. And let's look at the offense of the St. Louis Rams, the world champions. The offensive line: Pace, Newton, McCollum, Timmerman, and Ryan Tucker, the right tackle. Those who have all that speed and handle the ball: Holt, Falk, Holcomb, Williams, and Bruce. Williams, the tight end, led by Kurt Warner, and this guy is remarkable. There's the shift. Here comes the motion, and Warner is back to throw it. Drops it to a wide open tight end to Isaac Bruce to start things off with. Here's the Seattle defense. They spent a lot of time on the field last week against the Dolphins. The defensive line: King, Kennedy, Parker, and Sinclair. The linebackers: George Kuntz, the ex-Packer, in the middle, Simmons and Chad Brown outside. Secondary: Williams, Bellamy, Tongue, and Sean Springs, one of the best corners in the NFL. 2nd and 6.
Here's empty backfield. You see there was only one guy in the backfield, and that guy was Isaac Bruce, a wide receiver. And then when he went in motion, that would make an empty backfield, meaning that they have 5 receivers.
Full start, offense, number 76. 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Orlando Pace.
That's one of the things when you do all that shifting in motion. You see Isaac Bruce is coming here in motion, and it's not only Orlando Pace on the other side, but it was also Ryan Tucker on this side. It got both tackles for some reason.
2nd and 11. 3 wide receivers. At least that's what they start off with. Quick count. Warner fake, gave to Marshall Faulk. George Kuntz made the stop.
You know, the Rams run that draw. That was a draw play there. The Rams run it a little different than most teams. Most teams just come back, and as the quarterback drops back, he just hands the ball to the running back. What he does there, what Kurt Warner does, is he runs back, fakes like pumps like he's going to throw the ball, and then hands on a delayed draw play. That was very effective for him last year.
Look at these amazing statistics. Last week on 3rd down, his rating was 158.3.
It seems like most other people hyperventilate in this situation.
Fumble on the exchange. Larry Nimmers is the referee, by the way.
There's also a flag on the play, too. That's a couple exchange problems there. One, the 2 tackles moved early, and then they fumbled the snap.
Prior to the snap, full start, offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Adam Timmerman.
That's a right guard, so they've gotten. Here's Adam Timmerman right there. They've gotten both of the tackles, and that time they got Timmerman. You see, here's a bad exchange here. Timmerman was going to pull, and as he started to pull, he
got the recovery.
He recovered the fumble.
I didn't see him move too early.
I thought he moved right at the snap. It was pretty good. I think the guy saw him move laterally rather than driving out forward.
4 wide receivers this time, and here's Warner back to throw it. And going up top, pass complete to Ricky Prohl, and that'll be enough for a Ram 1st down.
You know, here's where they really get you in a bind, is they put in 4 wide receivers. Ricky Prohl is a 4th wide receiver. Now you have to have your 4th corner covering, and even though it's a zone, they're always going to have an advantage because their 3rd wide receiver is going to be better than your 3rd corner. Their 4th receiver, Ricky Prohl, is going to be better than your 4th cover guy.
They're tough. 1st down Rams, and they hand back to Marshall Faulk. And Faulk dodges around and makes a couple of people miss, but gets no gain.
You know, last night we were talking to Marshall Faulk about speed, and he said there's a lot of different kinds of speed. You know, they measure you in the 40 they measure your 100 speed, and he said for a running back, this most important speed is a 5 to 10 yard area speed, you know, in that running box where you can get beyond those linemen and linebackers, and that's the speed that he's worked on over the years.
Falk is the lone man in the backfield. Shuttle pass to Hakeem. The Seahawks play it well. Chris Canty made the stop.
Well, you know, they'll do that. They'll run that shuttle pass in there to Hakeem, and then he'll also keep the ball, and then what he'll do is he'll run an option out of it. But here he is right here like he's going to be the blocker. Then you're going to see him come here and take the ball from Kurt Warner. You see Kurt Warner starts like he's going to roll out. Hakeem comes in underneath. The guard pulls, but the Seattle Seahawks defense played that very well.
4 wide receivers. Warner to Hakeem. Ball came loose. Ricky Prohl recovered.
I think these fans are saying, hey, this is great. We stopped them on 3rd down, and on this first drive, they didn't get a score.
It's the first time I've seen him in a shotgun.
The shotgun isn't a big thing with the Rams. They like those open backfields, and most of the time they like Kurt Warner up under the center.
John Baker is the punter for the Rams. Only punted 1 time last week. Charlie Rogers on the return, and Rogers gets out to the 24. Good coverage by the Rams. And the Seahawks celebrate holding this offensive juggernaut the first time they have the ball. Back at Lake Washington at Husky Stadium, 0-0 score. Here's the Seattle offensive line. Jones, Kendall, Gray, Wedderburn, and Weiner. And Dawkins and Ricky Waters. Max Strong starts at fullback. Mealy starts at tight end. Kitna is the quarterback, and he hits his first pass to Mealy. And let's look at the St. Louis Ram defense. Up front, Wistrom, Scanina in place. Agnew and Kevin Carter. Scanina in place of DeMarco Farr. Collins, London Fletcher in the middle. The secondary. Ricky Waters tries the outside, stopped by Devin Bush.
You know, that was a big thing that Jon Kitna was talking about yesterday. You know, we were talking about confidence and getting confidence, and he says no matter what those first couple of passes are, he said even if they're just things for 2 yards, he said you like to get some completions. He said it's a big thing when you're 1 for 1 or you're 2 for 2. He said a tough thing is when you're like 0 for 5, then you really start pressing.
Back to throw it again and trying to go 2 for 2, and does. Again to Mealy, the tight end.
And I think Jon Kitna, you know, we talked earlier about how you lose your confidence in a game, and if you're going to get your confidence back, you have to get it back in a game. I think that first play, that bootleg helped him. Here he has good pass protection, and he gets a good lane. And you know who's a good player? Is Walter Jones. Watch him here, the left tackle. I mean, he just stays on Wistrom and just stays with his protection, and he helps open that lane for Jon Kitna to throw the ball in.
Excellent footwork.
Walter Jones is a very good player.
Kitna on the draw play. Ricky Waters. Gain of 8. We talked to Jon Kitna about the immediate pressure to perform.
there's never any game that I don't prepare for as hard as another, or don't feel like, well, it's okay, you know, if I don't play as well this week. Now, I always kind of feel that sense of urgency because of the way I came into this league, and I understand that my chances are minimal in this league, and whereas another guy might get more and more chances, my chances are minimal. And so I got to go out and each Sunday try to put my best out there, and some Sundays it doesn't work out.
Kitna to Sean Dawkins, and his confidence ought to be building a little bit right now. He's 3 for 3.
Yep, and that's the way, when we talked yesterday, that was the way that he dreamed it. That's the way he pictured it. Sean Dawkins is a big wide receiver that has sneaky speed, and he's a good target. And again, you know, you start off there with Walter Jones, and his pass protection right here is giving Kitna some of those lanes.
Kitna looking downfield, throws deep, and throws out of the end zone wisely. Dawkins was close, but about 10 yards away.
Yeah, that was Sean Dawkins' first catch of the season. You got to remember, he was a free agent, and then they weren't going to sign him, and he didn't go anywhere, and then they finally brought him back.
Yep.
And now he's a starting wide receiver. Derek Mays was the other starting wide receiver on the other side, and he's been replaced today by Darrell Jackson. Jackson's a rookie who they liked from day one. They say he runs great pass patterns and has very good speed.
2nd and 10. Kitna drops. Going back. Too far, just a little too far this time for Dawkins.
You see, we talk about Dawkins. He has good size, you see, and he can get by that bump, and he has kind of sneaky speed, but not that much speed. But that's a pretty good place to throw it for Jon Kitna. I mean, he threw it where either Sean Dawkins was going to catch that ball or it was going to be an incomplete pass.
3rd and 10 at the Ram 28.
Derek Mays is in there when they go 3 wide receivers like now.
That was Mays in motion. And there's the throw to Derek Mays. First down. Todd Light made the stop, but Kitna has a miss.
Yeah, we're talking about, you know, Kitna, and now he had to get his confidence back. We see Derek Mays starts in motion, then he runs back or runs out. There's no one around him. Jon Kitna sees him, gets him the ball, and gets him the ball for a first down. But the Rams defense, you know, they knew that same thing, and they said, you know, these guys that don't have any confidence, we can't let them get off to a good start and get confident, and they are doing it.
Yes, they are. Kitna drops again. Ricky Waters down to the Ram 5. The Seahawks are fired up.
Yeah, this is the way they looked in practice the other day. I mean, Jon Kitna in practice on Friday was very sharp. I mean, just picking the guy. You see that? That wasn't his first receiver. He was looking left, looking left, looking left. Then he had to come back to the right. And you're able to do that because you're getting a little confidence. But the biggest thing is you have good pass protection.
He's 5 for 7 now. 2 tight ends set up. Kitna rolls and overthrows on purpose. Mealy, I'm sure. I'm sure he was overthrowing.
Well, that was like he did earlier, because the thing is, you get down here in this red zone, and you get any place, and it's, you know, first down. You know that you're going to go for the play pass, and if it's not there, that's what you tell the guy. He's either open and you throw it to him as a touchdown, or if he's not open, you just throw it away, and you still have 2 more downs.
Christian Fourier is the normal starter. Mealy is starting in his place today.
The 11th play of this drive. Waters spins down to about the 3. You know, both of these head coaches call their own plays, and Mike Holmgren is really doing a good job of calling plays. Let's watch this on the umpire cam here and just see. You see, you get the pressure here, and then you see Ricky Waters. This is what he sees. You have to get in there, and you have to feel the hole. And you see him right there. He makes that hit, then he gets that spin, and he gets another extra couple yards with the spin.
Down about the 2. 3rd down. Kitna. Dawkins incomplete. Trade fly.
That's what you try and do. You try and get that height mismatch. Dawkins out here, 6'4". Kitna's just looking at him all the way. And that's that one you want to throw it right to the second pylon. You want to throw that ball right to the second pylon. And again, either your guy, Sean Dawkins, gets it and it's a touchdown, or the ball is incomplete. He could have put a little more on that ball and gotten it out to the back pylon. That was a little underthrown.
Chris Hefner, rookie, to try the field goal. 19 yards away, and he's good. And the Seahawks take a 3-0 lead with 6 minutes left in the first quarter. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, National League Central rivals collide as Sammy Sosa and the Cubs visit St. Louis to take on Jim Edmonds and the division-leading Cardinals, or Steve Finley and the Diamondbacks host Chipper Jones and the division-leading Braves. Fox Saturday Baseball this week. Action starts at 12:30 Eastern. Check your local listings.
Here's a guy right here, old London Fletcher, the starting middle linebacker for the Rams, is back there on that kickoff return. He's one of the deep guys, but he's in the blocking position of the deep guy, not in the return or speed position.
The deepest guy is Tony Horn.
And London Fletcher is the next guy up.
Horn at the 7. Taken down as he crosses the 30 by Reggie Tung, the ex-Kansas City Chief. 5:49 left now in the first quarter, and the Seahawks lead 3-0. Allie McBeal brings you his newest series, Boston Public, coming right at you. Fox Fall. Seattle 3, the Rams nothing. Rams have the ball for the second time. Kurt Warner gives to Marshall Falk. Falk dodges up to the 35.
There's a guy, Willie Williams. You see number 27, the way he came in and made that tackle. I looked at him, and he's one of the smallest guys I've ever seen. In fact, they call him Mighty Mouse. I mean, he has the skinniest legs, the skinniest calves I think that I've ever seen. But he's been a player in this league. Now watch him. He gets a little block here, then he has to knife right down that line. And when you're that small, you better tackle a guy between the knees and the ankles. And Willie Williams did that.
Played 8 years.
Yeah, he's a competitor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a tough little guy. Oops, there's no one out here covering.
A little confusion as they drop a flag and blow a whistle.
You know, Roland Williams, the tight end, came out here to the bottom down here, and no one covered him.
50 offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That's the third false start they've had.
Just watch when Roland Williams comes out here. Springs is starting to come over a little, but he really didn't get out there with him. They just could have thrown the ball to Roland Williams out here.
But Ryan Tucker backed out early.
And that's the second time in this first quarter that Ryan Tucker has backed out of there early.
2nd and 10. Hakeem in motion this time, and Warner back to throw it. Hakeem.
That's where he's so good, Kurt Warner, is getting rid of the ball. And to get rid of the ball quickly, you have to read and see things quickly. And you're going to see the motion go to that side. Now there's going to be a blitz from this side. See the right side of the defense into the side that he's throwing to. Hakeem starts to fall down, gets up. Now watch, he's going to get the pressure from this side. This is the side that he's throwing to. They have a free guy coming, but he gets rid of the ball so quickly it doesn't make any difference.
Warner has the ball tipped or slip out of his arm, it's still caught by Ricky Prohl.
I tell you, he took a pretty good hit. The Sinclair was there and Cortez Kennedy were there, and they both looked like they hit Kurt Warner just as he threw that ball. But here's Sinclair right here. He's number 70. He's going around Tucker. He's the guy that hits him, and Kennedy just ran right by him. But it was Michael Sinclair.
A pretty good hit.
And Ryan Tucker, they say that's an improvement at right tackle over Fred Miller this year, but it's not an improvement in the first quarter of this game.
1st and 10. Marshall Faulk is taken down by Anthony Simmons.
You know, one of the new things about this Seattle Seahawks defense is their defensive coordinator, Steve Sidwell, who I've always thought was one of the best in football. Remember when he was down there with Jim Moore and the New Orleans Saints, and he was the coordinator of that defense? They always played, I thought, the most solid defense in the NFL.
And they swarmed on the ball,
right.
too.
And then he was in New England last year, and Pete Carroll got fired up there. And the first day that he was free, Mike Holmgren called him and hired Steve Sidwell.
2nd and 8. Warner, look left, now comes right. Chase fires it upfield, and the pass is caught by Faulk.
That was a good blitz pickup from the backside. What the Seattle Seahawks did is they walked Chad Brown out like he was going to be walked off. Then he brought him from the backside. Now watch what happens. They're going to bring him from the backside right up there. Now watch the left guard, Newton. He gets out there and makes that block, and he protects him. You see it right there is the end of it. Yep, now we'll see the whole thing. Watch, it's going to come from his left. You see, Newton starts out there and takes him down right now, and then Kurt Warner saw that, and he was flushed out to his right.
1st and 10.
It was a good pickup by Tom Newton.
Warner broken up. Intended for Isaac Bruce. Willie Williams got there just at the last instant and got a hand in there.
You know, Willie Williams is playing like that today, and the other day, just watching him, he practiced like that. I mean, he's one of those guys that, of course, when you're that size, you better have a great motor. And he has a great motor. He's always having fun. He has a bounce in his walk, and he's all over the place. And you know, he's a fun guy to watch practice. And then you come here, and you see he's a fun guy to watch play.
He's not carrying much extra.
He's carrying none extra.
2nd and 10. Back to Faulk. A loss by Chad Brown. The ex-Pittsburgh Steeler, Chad Brown.
Yeah, Chad Brown has played a lot against Marshall Faulk, and he said that in the games that he played against him, he never gave him any problems. And that time, you saw Chad Brown make a heck of a play, because he's going to come in, he's going to take on a block, and then he's going to bounce to the outside. See, takes on a block right there, spins out of it, and then gets up the field. You know, that's the thing. You know, I was talking about linebacker instinct. You don't go where the guy's been. You have to go where the guy's going to be when you get there.
3rd and long.
Here's an empty.
And no blitz coming. And Warner has time. Gets it out to Isaac Bruce, but well short of a first down. Chris Canty up in good shape.
You see, and he had good pass protection here, but this is good coverage, because if we look at the left, this is what he was looking at. He was looking over here, and he had nothing down the field. So then he had to come back to the right side. Now, he could have gone short to the left, but it was 3rd down, and he didn't want to do that. He wanted to get his guys to the first down, but he had to hold it too long and come back.
This is Jeff Wilkins from 48 yards away, and he is good. They say Mike Martz, in fact, told us that Jeff was stronger. His leg is stronger than it was last year. He was injured a little bit last year and had a...
Mondays can be a painful experience. Let Sky One put a smile on your face.
You had a prescription for chronic diarrhea? You must have really splattered the bowl.
This is beautiful country, this Northwest, but it sure is dreary.
Well, we got up here Friday, and it's been raining ever since, although it's kind of stopped now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. That's Charlie Rogers behind the wedge. Hit down at just inside the 30. And so the Seahawks will take over. It's 3-3 with 22 seconds left in the first.
For the St. Louis Rams, in the last 5 drafts, they've had 6 first-round draft choices. 5 of them start for the team. The lone man out is ex-NFL Europe, Lawrence Phillips. Nick, you're a champion of the NFL Europe. What are these guys doing this season?
I'm not a champion of Lawrence Phillips, that's for sure, I tell you. But these 2 teams, interestingly, have got something like 13 NFL Europe guys on their roster. Here's one of them, Kerry Joseph, who plays safety for Seattle. You might remember him playing for the London Monarchs when all their quarterbacks were falling down. He's much better as a safety, very effective. And he's their nickelback. Jon Kitna, of course, been all about him and what he did with the Barcelona Dragons in 1997. He was clearly the league's MVP. Another guy who came from nowhere. Matt Lytle picked up a World Bowl ring. He's the 3rd string quarterback in Seattle. A bit of a surprise he made the roster, to be honest with you, but hey, he's there. James Logan, Scottish Claymores fans will remember him. He has started some games for Seattle. And of course, as poor old Stan Gelbar going down under a hit from Mike Sinclair, who was the star of the 1992 campaign. As far as St. Louis is concerned, Kurt Warner, of course, we know all about him, a guy who just popped up absolutely literally out of nowhere. And he's got a couple of other guys that start in front of him. That's one of them, Tom Newton, who was in Amsterdam a couple of years ago, and Andy McCollum, who was playing in Barcelona in 1995, now the starting centre. And, of course, Mike Jones, the man who effectively won the Super Bowl for him with that tackle.
3-3 game here. Seattle has to be elated.
They'll be delighted, and they're playing it absolutely right defensively. They're giving nothing up. They're wrapping up on their tackles, and they're basically doing what Tampa Bay did in the championship game last year. You know, they're not giving them any extra yards.
Welcome back. Rams defensive lineman Kevin Carter may not be here for the entire game. His wife Shima is due to give birth to their son in about 10 days, but as we all know, that could happen at any time. Now, if it does happen, a Rams official will be notified by pager. They will contact Kevin. He will be taken from the field to a private plane. Now, what we don't know is if Kevin Carter will stop to take a shower or not. I asked Kevin, will he take a shower? Does he go straight to the plane? He says he'll see when the time comes. Back to you, Pat.
That won't be too much on his mind if he gets the word that a child is about to be born. He knows it's a boy. Ricky Waters, the ball carrier.
You know, one of the things that Mike Holmgren was talking about yesterday with this offense is to get off to a good start, get some confidence, don't have any turnovers. Remember last week Jon Kitna had 5 turnovers. Don't have any turnovers and kind of slow the game down.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score: the Rams 3, the Seahawks 3. Fox NFL Sunday from Seattle will continue after these messages. Max Strong is the lone setback. Hit the pass complete. Darrell Jackson, of whom John was speaking moments ago, the rookie from Florida. He really didn't start at the University of Florida until he was a senior.
Well, and he was one of those guys that had a very good preseason. And then last week, Mike Holmgren was really upset with Derek Mays. He didn't feel that Mays played well at all, so he was one of the guys that he benched.
Reverse Jackson again. Chase and cut down by Grant Wistrom. You talk about a motor.
I was just going to say they have a couple of motors on this defense, and London Fletcher is one, and the other one is Grant Wistrom. And you know he's one of those guys that wherever the ball goes, he's going to go. I mean, he hits here, and then he feels again. Look at what he does to that tight end. You just take him, and then you run right down the line. See, there's another example of not going where the guy is, but taking an angle where you're going to meet where he's going to be.
Some guys never learn that. Waters.
One of the things we talked about that Mike Holmgren wants Jon Kitna to get off to is a good start. One of the ways that he does that is that quick three-step drop, and you see those short passes, very effective. Don't hold the ball for a long time. Get back, get it out of there. And then we talked earlier how just the difference a week makes. Just a week ago, Jon Kitna in the first half had 5 turnovers.
Kitna back. Sack by Ray Agnew.
Ray Agnew is probably the least talked about guy on this starter on this St. Louis Ram team. He plays in there, you know, DeMarco Farr, who is injured now, who had a cartilage injury. They did a scope on him, and he'll be back in about a month after their bye. But, you know, they talk about him, they talk about the ends, the linebackers, the defensive backs, and Ray Agnew, he just got in there and does all the grunt work.
And it plugs away.
And he does. He's a good old plug slug.
Jeff Beagles. Hakeem signals fair catch, makes it. And the Rams will take over at about their own 16 or 17-yard line. Well, I see some shadows there. That means sunlight, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, they had the wrong cups there. You see, they had a shift. One of them wanted hot chocolate and got coffee.
Ball.
You know, one of the things that the Rams did so well on Monday night was the run after the catch. You know, they'd get those short passes. In fact, they had 262 yards of what we call rack, run after the catch.
Yep.
So far today, they only have 9 yards.
That's one of the things that the Seahawks really were concerned and talked about. Tackling those guys before they get off to the racetrack. Robert Holcomb, the ball carrier, picks up nice yardage. Right now, for a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Don't forget, coming up at halftime, the plays that mattered from the early kickoff games. We'll have pictures of the best touchdowns and the big plays from around the league.
Looked and sounded like a heck of a game. 2nd and 2 here.
There were a lot of comebacks today.
Yeah.
How about the Raiders coming back against the Indianapolis Colts?
Marshall Faulk didn't quite get the first down. Simmons is the man who met him first.
You know, we were just talking about that rack, and Reggie Tongue, the safety for the Seattle Seahawks, was saying that you can't go in against the Rams and say that you're going to stop their passing game, because you're not. I mean, they have too many weapons and too much speed, and they are going to complete passes, but when they do, you have to make tackles, and that's the big thing, and that's what Seattle is doing well so far.
Didn't appear that he got the first down, but he did.
And that's what the fans are booing about, and that's what the Seattle Seahawks were complaining about, is they didn't like that spot. You know, you remember, it's not where the guy goes down, it's where the football is when the guy goes down. So if his knee goes down or his body goes down, they spot it where the ball is, not where the knee or foot touched.
Warner threw behind the intended receiver, who was Torrey Holt.
One of the guys that they feel that they have to block and keep on the line is Cortez Kennedy. So here's a way to do it. You just start off on a double, hold him there. Now, what that does is that doesn't allow any pressure to come up the middle. So even if you get pressure from the outside, if you can double that guy in the middle and not let him come up the middle, your quarterback can always step up.
And Kennedy's one of those guys who, after he's doubled long enough, gets very frustrated. Warner up to Marshall Faulk, and their blockers in front. Faulk is hit down hard by Sean Spring.
And that's where you have to tackle, and that's what the secondary the Seahawks have been talking about all week. You know, that they are going to catch passes, they are going to do things like this, they are going to have screen passes, But when they get there and you get a chance to tackle him, you got to get that guy down. That was a heck of a tackle by Sean Spriggs. But the Rams right now, I think, are one of the better teams in football at running screen passes. They're one of the better teams of football at running all kinds of passes.
Now they start Falk out of the backfield. And they give the ball to Robert Holcomb. He gets a couple.
You know, that's one of the things we were talking to Kurt Warner about last night, about how he gets a, 3 reads. You get a pre-snap read, and he said that he'll know 75% of what's going to happen by his pre-snap read, and then you read during your drop, and then the third time is when you get back there and set. So he says by the time he gets back and set, he has already done his, he already knows where he's going. See, now this is what he's looking at.
He gets to Falk. And Falk gets it down to the Seattle 26.
And Marshall Falk does have that speed in the hole, doesn't he? It's not, as he said, it's not running 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 yards, but it's just this speed right in here. You see, again, that's that draw play, the little delay, and then you get your angles and you find your blockers and you run off them. Then you find there's only one guy down there, and you can either try and elude him, or you can do it. Marshall Falk just right there. You can try and run over him.
This is Falk again. And again, zips through a tiny opening. Reggie Tongue.
Look at Marshall Falk now. DJ Johnson was talking about that black rubber that is in this field, or sand and rubber.
Yeah.
And what happens is when you go down, that stuff will bounce up in your face and get in your eyes. Now that's exactly what happened to Marshall Falk. In between those blades is sand and ground up rubber. And that rubber, when you hit down, will get in your eyes, and you can see that they're trying to get it out of Marshall Falk's eyes right now. But if there is a negative with this field, that's it right there.
Falk's place has been taken by this guy, Trump candidate. Hit by Michael Sinclair. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to Marshall Falk.
It's going to be just when he goes down, you see his all right there. And then when he hits, you see his face just goes right into the turf.
Yep.
And then as his face mask hits that turf, then the rubber bounces up into his eyes.
4 wide receiver setup is coming up for the Rams. 3 of them to the left.
We got the 3 over here.
Falk. Pass is picked off. Jay Bellamy made the pick. And Bellamy's still on his feet. To the 15, he's going to score. For Jay Bellamy.
Mike Holmgren said, I guarantee that we'll be better. Here you see Bellamy, he just got to jump there. He read that out. He was looking back at Kurt Warner, and he got a jump on that ball. He's a safety, and he jumped. And then right there, he had to delay a little while just to let Kurt Warner, who was the only guy that could tackle him, miss. He had patience there, and then he got by him and got his touchdown. But boy, did he get a jump on that pass. He was watching Warner all the way.
Yep. The extra point is good. And the Seahawks get their first touchdown of the year. Scored by the defense. It's 10-0.
But that was a great read by Jay Bellamy. And then after he got that great read, then because of that great read, he got a good jump.
Seattle leads 10-3. Horn bounces off one man. Gets to about the 31. There's a fumble and a scramble. They're saying he was down. It's Tony Horn.
They're still going after that ball.
Or after something.
Well, it's a ball, but the officials are saying it's academic anyway because they already have pointed it's a Rams ball. I'll tell you, this is a different Ram team we're seeing today and a different Seattle team.
Different Seattle team, particularly.
Jay Bellamy is not the quickest guy in the world, but he's a very, very good reader of the ball game, and he knows how to be around the ball as he was there. And he's a smart, intelligent player. There he is. He waits for Warner to commit himself, and just gets another little block there from Antonio Simmons and trundles on in. Huge play for the Seahawks.
Form of a 7-man sled there. That's what the defensive guys use to shiver. The shiver sled.
Warner back to throw. Through the arms of Ernie Conwell.
Yeah, here's one of the things. Remember that last pileup we saw where the guys were scrambling, bumbling around down there? Here's what happens. If you don't like a guy that's down there, you just pick him up. If one hand doesn't work, you get your strong hand. You just pull him right off the pile. You know that guy that he pulled up? You know who that is?
Who?
That's Isaiah Kazavensky. He's a rookie from Harvard. Went to Harvard, majored in pre-med. Didn't even graduate because he had a mini camp. Had his father walk through graduation for him. Oh, Kazavensky.
Kazavensky, huh?
Yeah, and he got pulled off the pile. He didn't know where that pull came from. First he got a left-handed pull, then a right-handed pull.
Ricky Prohl, the pass from Warner. Reached behind him with one hand to make that catch.
Yeah, I remember last year when we talked to Dick Vermeil and when we were doing those playoff and championship games.
Yeah.
And he thought that Ricky Prohl was one of the most valuable guys he had in this team. And he said, we got to pay him a lot of money and we have to keep him, but he's worth it. And he's just your fourth wide receiver. But he was one of the big reasons that they got to the Super Bowl.
He made the catch against Tampa Bay.
There he is right here.
1st and 10. Marshall Faulk. Bang down hard.
You know, one of the things that they never talk about Marshall Faulk is he caught more yardage pass receiving yardage last year than any running back in the history of the game. Now, they always say that, you know, he's one of the backs that, you know, gained over 1,000 yards and caught for over 1,000 yards. But in addition to that, that number, 1,048, is an all-time number. No running back has ever caught for more yardage than Marshall Faulk in the history of the NFL.
And that's a long history. Here's Warner. Pass complete up the middle to Torrey Holt.
Well, that's a heck of a throw there.
Yep.
You know, and it all starts, we were talking about that middle, where you have to have a safety there in the middle. And then if you don't, then that middle is going to be open there. And then you talk about the middle of the line so that he can step up. If you look here, see, here's where they have to start. They start out there on the outside, and then Sinclair takes an inside move, and they give him a clean area to step up with his left foot. Although Michael Sinclair almost took it away.
Fumble! That's the second time they've had a problem with the exchange. Marshall Faulk fell on it. You would think that's so simple. It must be that it's a new center, but it might be that Warner's pulling out too soon.
Yeah, I mean, you would think not. I mean, you would think that it's just, you know, you're being on the road and noise or something, because you know, I think that Kurt Warner says that, you know, he has a new center in Andy McCullum, but that he feels very comfortable with it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's never been a problem. He said there's been no adjustment. I think they could have a problem. I think there's more noise here than you would expect.
2nd and 13, the pass to Faulk.
We talk about Faulk and, you know, catching all those passes, but they move him everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, he's not just coming out of the backfield. I mean, he's outside. You see, he's outside here like a wide receiver, and then he runs patterns like a wide receiver does. That was just a slant.
Boy, that ball was right there, too.
That was the thing when I first watched Kurt Warner, before I'd seen him a lot. The two things that impressed me about him was how accurate he was and how tough he is.
3rd and 5. No flag yet. Here's Warner back to throw it. Has time, throws. Incomplete.
Sean Springs is one of the best corners in the league. Now, what you're going to see out here, Isaac Bruce is going to fall down. And that's one of the problems with that timing passing. And that was why, as a coach, I never liked it, because you throw the ball before the guy gets into or comes out of his break. And if he falls down in his break, that ball can be coming the other way and make a tackler out of you.
Jeff Wilkins to try from 48 yards again. He hit one from that distance. This one's going to get there. And this one's good as well. Seattle 10, St. Louis 6 with 3:12 left in the first half.
They say here's an interesting guy to watch, Pat. Hodgins right here, James Hodgins, 270 pounds, and I guess he goes down there and on these kickoff coverage, he just lights guys up.
He weighs 270.
Let's see him run.
Number 42. That's Charlie Rogers. A flag on the play already.
He ran down there and had good contact, but in doing so,
he ran right by him.
Ran right by him. Here comes old Hodgins, man. He's right there. He's a huffing and a puffing. He's going to light someone up. He's going to hit someone, and he does right wham right there. That is a collision. But as that collision was happening,
on the kicking team,
boom, right by him.
91. Penalty is declined. First down.
That's Reggie Brown, the backup Seattle fullback. He hit, and he's about 240.
Yeah, so he must have known about old Hodgins.
Yeah.
He's going to come down there. He's one of those crazy guys. He doesn't care. He'll just run right into you.
Three-wide receiver package. Mays in the game for Seattle. Kitna gets to Waters. We talked to Kevin Carter on the difficulty of being the defending Super Bowl champions.
We have to expect everyone's best effort this season. What we did last year was monumental, and I think everyone, when you're on top, everyone's going to be gunning for you. So I think that we're going to get everyone's best effort every week. So we better know that if we're playing the Kalamazoo Rough Riders and, they have, no Pro Bowlers and a third-string quarterback starting for them, we're going to get their A game.
Here's Kitna changing the play.
174 Dixie.
And going deep and out of bounds. Intended for Dawkins. The schedule after you win the Super Bowl, the schedule, number one, becomes more difficult. And as Kevin Carter said, everybody's going to play their best game against you.
I remember, after we won a Super Bowl when I was coaching, and that's not only in regular season, it starts in preseason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you play a preseason, or you go to scrimmage someone, and they try and, compare themselves to you because they know that a year ago you were the best, and then you become the measuring stick for every team the next year.
That's so true. Ricky Waters behind the line of scrimmage, down for a big loss by London Fletcher.
That was a great call there because London Fletcher ran right in the hole that Ricky Waters was going to run in, and he timed it perfectly. You're going to see London Fletcher right there. He just runs in the hole, no one blocks him, and he gets Ricky Waters in the backfield 5 yards before he gets to the line of scrimmage.
The Seahawks lead 10-6 over the defending world champions.
Seahawks showing the perfect way to beat the St. Louis Rams. Nice ball control, good defensive plays, not having a turnover. Mike Holmgren must be really happy about the team up to this stage.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Having said that, you know, there are signs that defensively the St. Louis Rams are starting to come to terms with things, but still a little bit of oil in the machinery as far as the Rams are concerned on offense. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the big plays in the first half so far. Here's Kitna looking for Sean Dawkins. Dre Bly with great coverage there. Now, Dawkins is 6'4". Bly is 5'9", a 7-inch advantage, but timing is perfect there from Bly. They really do have a good defensive secondary, the Rams. Bly is just the nickelback in that situation. And then this really was the big play, wasn't it? Jay Bellamy, who's as smart as they come, stepping in front of the pass and racing basically untouched, 84 yards. Just a little dodge past the quarterback there. And he's in, and it's 10-6. The question, though, is can the Seahawks actually hold that lead?
You know, that's a big question, especially this is danger time going into the last 2 minutes. St. Louis going into their 2-minute attack. We'll see what the St. Louis or the Seattle's defensive backs do now.
Well, the Rams are on a 2-minute drill all the time, aren't they? I mean, every single player. They literally can score from anywhere, anytime. Jeff Fields is a very good punter. He's given them good field position consistently throughout his career. They need to hold them here. I think if they can go in with a lead at half-time and regroup and rethink, you know, they've got a chance. But so far, they've played it really well.
Okay. St. Louis will be receiving the punt. Let's get back to Husky Stadium.
2 minutes left to play in the first half. Seattle 10, St. Louis 6. Pat Summerall with John Madden at Husky Stadium.
There's old Kazavensky. See, he has that H tattooed right there. That's a Harvard tattoo. Reminds him all the time he has to look at that big old right arm to remember where he's from. Watch him on this punt coverage. I mean, any guy named Kazavensky has to be one of the first guys down there.
Beagles to Hakeem. Signals fair catch and makes it. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB and Terry will have scores and highlights from around the league, and our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report.
Hey, did you hear about John Lynch? You know, the safety for Tampa Bay? Yeah. He wanted to, you know, have a new haircut, so he went to get a haircut, and he told the barber to give him a Howie Long. And the guy didn't know what a Howie Long was.
Right here, big guy.
He should have said, give me a Kurt Warner.
Maybe that's why Howie left. Here's Kurt Warner. Screen coming to Falk. Marshall Falk waits. Lets the blockers do their blocking and then gets the first down and gets out of bounds.
See, that's a problem. If you don't get depth when he goes back, if you don't get your linebackers deep and your defensive backs deep, then you're not going to defend those wide receivers. If you do get them deep like that, then they can run you off and then throw the screen pass in front of you.
Both teams have all their timeouts, all 3 remaining. Kurt Warner drops it out to Marshall Falk.
And that's
5-yard pickup.
Same type of thing. They had 3 wide receivers out on one side, 1 wide receiver here to the left. They try and get you to pair off and to get everyone back and then just dump the ball to Marshall Falk.
2nd and 3. They're in a hurry. Shotgun. Warner fires upfield out of bounds. He was hit just as he let it go.
He tried to get that big one in there. That's that old cover 2 rotation, you know, where a corner comes up and hit and the other corner or safety comes over, and there's a split second when there's a hole in that coverage, and Kurt Warner tries to hit it. We're talking about here, you see a bump, you see the safety coming over, and there's a hole right in there. And that's a hole that Kurt Warner tried to get that one into.
He was under pressure just as he let it go. Maybe he had to hurry a bit. Warner. Hakeem out of bounds after the first down.
Hakeem is one of those guys that Mike Marks says that they wanted to get some weight on him because, you know, he's a punt returner, so he takes quite a beating. And they want to keep him fresh because he's their speed guy, and so they felt that they needed a little more bulk and a little more muscle on him. And he's gotten a little more of that in the offseason.
Strained his knee a little bit last week against Denver. There was some doubt early in the week whether he'd be able to play or not, but he's okay.
Good player out of San Diego State.
Yeah. Warner retreats. Incomplete. Intended for Falk.
How's that? Two players, you know, we talk about Marshall Falk and everything he does, and Oz Hakeem, and both out of San Diego State.
Yeah.
Then you wonder how Marshall Falk got to San Diego State, because he's from New Orleans.
Yeah.
They were the only one that told him that he would be a running back. See what happened? That ball slid out of his hand. That's the way you throw a knuckleball or a split finger.
Chad Brown.
Last ball with Falk. I think what he was trying to do was throw it out to his left and then change, then move the ball to throw it to the inside.
Out of the shotgun again is Warner. Ricky Prohl. About a yard shy of a first down.
You know, that's the thing. I mean, you know, Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt are the starting wide receivers for the Rams, but you hear Oz Hakeem and Ricky Prohl, the third and fourth wide receiver, as much as you hear the names of the two starters.
Just about.
And that's what's good and fun about this offense. You know, it keeps all the players in it. They all know that they're going to play, and if they play, they're going to get the ball.
3rd and 1. Warner on the quarterback draw. Saw a big hole and he took it down to the Seattle 25.
And the Rams still have 3 timeouts, so now's the time to take it. But watch from the umpire camp, he just gets back just enough to let that hole develop. And then when he sees that hole, he just goes right through it. You see, you don't want to go too quickly. You want to get back and let the hole develop. And then when you see the hole develop, then you want to go. You see, there it is right now. The minute he sees it, here it is. He sees the hole. Boom, he's going to hit it. See, because if you hit it too quickly before it develops, then it's just like a quarterback sneak. But the thing that makes it a draw is you go back, you delay, you let the guys get into a rush, then you'll find a natural hole, and that's what you run into.
They just used a timeout. There's Ricky Prohl over on the bench. 1st and 10, 57 seconds left to play in the first half. Out of the shotgun again is Kurt Warner. Behind Hakeem. That was not one of his better throws. He had time.
Now, that was that same pass pattern that he tried to throw in the hole of that defense before, and this time, instead of throwing it in the hole, he threw it to Hakeem on the out. Ricky Prohl there, you can see they're checking in the area of a hamstring.
Hamstring, yeah.
That right leg with that trainer put in his hand is where you expect it. You know, you always stretch those things out, and at first you hope it's just a cramp.
Here's Warner throwing underneath to Torrey Holt. And Holt gets closer. Not quite enough for a first to pick up of 9. Warner in a hurry. Pass was complete to Hakeem and got enough for a first down, but I heard a whistle blowing before it started.
I thought I heard a whistle blow before he got out of bounds.
Yeah.
I don't know that the whistle blew before the play started. There's no flag out there, but I felt that the whistle was blown before he got out of bounds.
That's what I thought. 10-6, 31 seconds left. They still have 2 timeouts left.
You know, this is the other thing that's so impressive about Kurt Warner is how he does all these things he's doing physically, but remains calm while he's doing them.
Over the middle, soft touch. Marshall Falk down at about the half-yard line.
And he got spun around, and remember, it's the ball breaking the plane. It looks like his feet broke the plane, but the ball doesn't. Watch here from the umpire cam. You see Kurt Warner come back. He throws a perfect pass to Marshall Falk. Now watch, Marshall Falk is driving there, and instead of going into the end zone, he gets spun around. Jay Bellamy is number 20. He's the guy that made that interception, and this is a big tackle here. Instead of letting him drive, you see what he just did? He just spinned him around. That's the concentration that Marshall Falk has of catching that ball and bringing it in.
How about Falk his awareness, and Kurt Warner just lobbing the ball in there.
Yeah, and how about Bellamy spinning him around so that he couldn't get that ball across the plane.
That's Robert Holcomb, who gives the Rams the lead. That's a very impressive drive.
And how about the number of people? I mean, it was running, it was the passing, and it was mixing the ball around, and that is Rams football right there. And it ended up with a trap to Robert Holcomb on the goal line.
How do you stop him? Wilkins will try the extra point. And it's good. I heard a whistle again.
Let's watch this through in the clicker here, and you're going to see the center makes a good block. I mean, that's a great block. Here's Cortez Kennedy right in the middle, and he gets spun and turned around and knocked down, and that's where the hole is created. Now, when you can handle the nose tackle like that on the goal line, you are going to have a soft spot right in the middle, and Holcomb finds it.
Don't forget, coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB and Terry will have scores from the highlights from around the league. Our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report very shortly.
Yeah, they just said that they're working on Ricky Proehl's hamstring. They say it's a tight hamstring. You know, the thing that was impressive about that drive, Pat, is the Rams, in 96 seconds, they ran off 12 plays. And they were good plays, but how quickly they were doing it.
Charlie Rogers on the return to the 30. Upended there. 9 seconds left on the scoreboard clock.
And I think the Seahawks and Mike Holmgren will be happy with this score in this situation, playing against the St. Louis Rams. I think if you would have told Mike Holmgren yesterday that the score will be 13-10, St. Louis's favor at halftime, I think he would have said, I'll take that. He does want to get one more shot here, though.
Yep.
Remember, the half can't end on a defensive penalty.
Ricky Waters. That's going to be the last play of the half. Well, maybe not. 4 seconds still left. Seattle timeout.
It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Larry Nimmers is the referee. Kitna called the timeout. They put extra receivers in. 4 seconds left on the scoreboard clock.
You would think if you're just going for the short one that you would, if you're just hoping for a defensive penalty, I think somewhere if you're going to take the timeout, somewhere you're going to have to take a shot up the field. The old Hail Mary,
right
you'd
now.
expect it would be on this side right here, yeah, with 4 seconds.
Kitna gets away from rusher. Now fires deep. And it's picked off by the Rams. Picked off by Keith Lyle.
I thought Jon Kitna really did pretty well in this first half, because you look back to last week, they played Miami, and he left in the same situation at halftime, and he had 5 turnovers. Now, one of them was like that. I will say that Hail Mary.
Last week.
Yeah, he did have 1 turnover, but I mean, to me, that doesn't count. I mean, that was just you throw up a duck and hope something happens good for you.
And that looks like fun, doesn't it?
Oh, we just had another touchdown score.
Yeah. Let's look at the first half statistics. Dominated by the Rams. The one big interception by Bellamy got the Seahawks' only touchdown. 247 yards to 95. 174 passing yards. And John, as we talked about before, the Rams do have a lot of weapons, and they utilize all those weapons.
On that last drive, we have 7 plays here, that last drive before the half by the Rams. And you're going to see how they move it around and how on that drive 6 different guys handle the ball. Marshall Faulk and there's Ricky Proehl. Then there was Kurt Warner. Remember that? He just ran the draw play himself. Colt gets that one. Oz Hakeem gets this one. And then Marshall Falk again, then Holcomb down here in the goal line. So I think this is a lot of Mike Martz. I mean, that's what he wants to do, to get everyone involved, but not just talk about it. I mean, it's something that they do on the practice field, and then when they come out in the game, they still do it.
And when you get everybody involved, you keep everybody happy, and that's a big factor. Let's go down to DJ Johnson.
In the first half, Kurt Warner said the Rams were a little bit out of sync in the first part of the first half. He said in the second part of the first half, they got into sync a little bit more. He hopes it carries over into the second half. Now, Coach Holmgren, on the other hand, said his team played well in the first half. Not perfect, but he said they tackled well, defense played well, but allowed the Rams to convert a couple crucial third downs that gave them better field position. So they have to do better on third downs on defense, keep the Rams in bad field position, and see what happens in this half. Back up to you, Pat and John.
Jon Kitna, you saw a minute ago, he was looking to restore some confidence going into this battle. And I would think by his performance in the first half he had.
I think he restored a little confidence. And like we said before, confidence is something you lose in a game and you have to get back in the game. And I think he still has to get it back in this half. I mean, I think, the Seahawks are going to get the ball, and it's very important how Jon Kitna starts off the second half.
Wilkins to kick off. It's going to be Rodgers to handle it. Rodgers breaks out of the pack momentarily, gets up to the 39, a good return.
Well, that's Hodgins right here. We know that he's going to have a collision, and I think he just goes down and tries to find a guy in the blue jersey, and then he doesn't worry about the second guy in the blue jersey.
It's one thing to have a collision, but sometimes you got to make a tackle.
Well, you have to have two collisions. You have to have the collision, then come off the collision and make another collision.
Ricky Waters deep, Kitna back to throw it. Goes out of bounds. Incomplete. It'll bring up 2nd and 10.
That play didn't start well for Jon Kitna. It looked like he kind of messed up on the exchange, and he didn't really have control of that football coming out of there.
Scanina put the pressure on him.
There's a guy number 66 there, Pete Kendall. Well, look at that. You see, he almost fumbled the ball coming out, so that thing had a bad start to it.
2nd and 10. Seattle ball at their own 38. Ricky Waters. Short gain, knocked out of bounds by Jones.
I was talking about Pete Kendall, the left guard, number 66. He's out of Boston College, and he was an All-American, going to be a #1 draft choice. They go to the East-West game, and they have like a mini combine, and they measure him, and his arms were like 31 3/4, he said, the length of his arm. And there was a gasp. Well, this guy went, oh, no. And at that point, he was a tackle, and because he has those short arms, they said he has to play guard.
It's complete. First down. And a flag on the play. That's Derek Mays.
They like those offensive tackles to have long arms, and they pay the tackles more than they pay the guards. So Pete Kendall said that measurement could have cost him some dough.
Illegal hands to the face.
31 and a half.
Number 91.
In girth, maybe.
First down.
And in length.
In these crossing patterns, Pat, they always use the umpire. We're using his camera as a screen. And they always, run right at him, and then they either go over him or under him.
You know the umpire's name, don't you?
Yeah, Chad Brown.
Yeah.
We got an umpire and a linebacker by the same name.
Hit the drop. Quick throw. Sean Dawkins, and Dawkins will move the sticks.
Yeah, I think this is good for the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is good for Jon Kitna. To come off, when we say, establish thing. He started off, kind of fumbled that first snap, came back, makes a couple completions. Here he makes a big one to Sean Dawkins. You see the big cushion there, and he knows if that corner is going to be that far off, you can just run a stop. Just stop right there and hit him, and it'll be enough for a first down.
That corner was Dre Bly. Here's Kitna. Looking at the Rams. And upended and twisted around by Mike Jones.
Mike Jones, how about his play in the Super Bowl?
A yard short.
Yep, a yard short. I mean, he had that one play. This is a bootleg. You see, they faked to Ricky Waters, the running back, going one side, and Kitna comes back to the other side, and it didn't fool Mike Jones at all.
Not at all.
He started back, and then he saw it, and he just went up there and made that play.
With Kevin Carter in pursuit. 2nd and 12. They lost a couple.
Kevin Carter's been kind of quiet today.
Yes, he has. Dawkins on the slant picks up a Seattle first down.
I like Sean Dawkins the way he's playing. I mean, he's competing today. You're going to see him come up, get inside here, and then hit the slant. Boom, right in there. You see, the first thing you want to do is get in the inside shoulder. And now you just push and just run away from a little, and Jon Kitna hits him perfectly. These Rams tackle pretty well, too.
But Dawkins is bigger than any of those safeties.
6'4".
Here's Kitna, pump fake. Underneath to Matt Strong, the fullback. London Fletcher made the stop.
You can just feel Kitna's confidence coming. You know, remember a year ago, he started off real well when Mike Holmgren was first started there, and they had a good start, and then he had a bad game against Tampa Bay, and from that point on, I think he lost his confidence and never recovered it the rest of the year, and maybe never recovered it until today, if he recovers it.
They were fortunate to be in the playoffs. That's Ricky Waters, and Waters close to a first down. He may have it. Jones on the stop.
Mike Holmgren's calling a good series here with mixture. That's the thing that you always have to do. You have to mix them up with your personnel packages, and you have to mix them up with your run and pass and inside and out, and not let them do one thing. This is what I was talking about here. Look at 99, week 1 through 10. He threw 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Their record was 7-2. Then they played Tampa Bay. They lost that game, and since then he threw 7 TDs, 14 interceptions, and their record was only 1-6.
Measuring to see if the Seahawks got a first down, a little bit short. You know, Mike Holmgren was saying to us yesterday, he is the general manager and the head coach. And you mentioned what a good series he was calling here. He does call the plays. But he was saying because of the duties of the general manager and because of the demands of the salary cap and free agency and so on, that he might give up the play calling part of it.
Yeah, I'd give up some of that general manager baloney. He's spending too much time on that. And yeah, I mean, they hired him to be a coach, and he's a great coach.
Heard about a foot. Sean Alexander, their #1 draft choice from Alabama. A strong run.
And boy, Sean Alexander gets that thing in here. Now watch what you have to do. The running back in short yardage, just as like goal line and short yardage, the running back has to get low and run behind his shoulder pad. And Sean Alexander does that. I mean, he hits that hole, and then boom, he gets down low and behind those pads.
And he almost scored. Hand off to Strong, and he's down to about the 2. Max Strong got the start at fullback today for the Seahawks.
Mike Holmgren's looking there for a play. In fact, he already found the play, and he's called the play. You know, as a play caller, you always have to think a play ahead. So right now, he would be thinking of the next down. You know, and he was ready to call that play. At some point here, you think, you know, this is a passing situation. At some point here, they took a timeout.
St. Louis
empty
timeout.
backfield.
St. Louis timeout.
I think they kind of fouled them up there.
They did.
They got there and they had those 5 receivers. They expected a short yardage situation, and the Seattle Seahawks gave them a long yardage formation.
Welcome back. We have some big news from Texas this week, don't we, Nick?
We do indeed, yes. They've got a name at last, the new Houston team. They've been announced as the Houston Texans. This announcement made earlier this week. The commissioner himself was there, Bob McNair was there. And I like the logo, Kev. It's an appropriate logo for a Texas team.
Texas beef. Can't beat it.
Absolutely. So, 2 teams from the NFL in Texas as of next season.
Let's get back to the stadium.
I didn't hear that when I was trying to sleep.
Well, there's nothing better to sleep to than the sound of the water hitting the ground.
9:59 left in the third. The Seahawks have 2nd and goal at the 3. This has been a good-looking drive. Ricky Waters, touchdown. Hesitated, looked around, and then jammed it in.
You talk about a competitor and a fired-up guy. It's Ricky Waters, always has been and always will be. And here's you say there's a little delay. He starts there. Now he has to have a little patience here. And he was waiting there. Instead of just putting his head down and ramming it in there, he just did a stutter step. And then that stutter step allowed him to look and find a soft spot, and then he just dove in that hole.
The extra point attempt is successful. And the Seahawks lead the Rams 17-13 now.
Yeah, we're talking about quarterbacks having number of reads. How about the running back? Watch Ricky Waters here. Now he's going to come up. Now he's going to run in that hole. I mean, he's going to start there. Now he looks to his left and he sees that he can't cut back. So then he goes back. So he's going to go first, then he's going to go second, and then he went third. And by the time he had that third, that delay was enough to open a gap for him. But he made 3 reads.
This is Tony Horn with the kickoff. Out to the 30. The Rams will take over trailing with 9:46 left in the third quarter.
Jon Kitna was 6 for 13 for 54 yards last week. Much different this week.
Yeah, he's got a lot more of his composure back, and that is just what the team needed, wasn't it? I mean, it was Ricky Waters that finished it off, I know, but this, an 11-play, 62-yard drive that took 5 minutes off the clock. It's exactly what they needed, keeping it on the ground, low-risk, short passes, and I tell you what, they're making a game of it, the Seahawks.
Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader, beginning with Terry, Howie, JB, and Chris on America's favorite pregame show. Then Jerry Rice and the 49ers take on division rival Marshall Faulk and the Rams, followed by the Giants' battle against the Bears, plus other regional matchups, starting at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific next Sunday. Check your local listings. Right now, check us out on this one.
You never know.
Kurt Warner back to throw and fires outside, complete to Isaac Bruce.
That's the thing, you know, you worry about speed, so sometimes in worrying about speed you give too much cushion. And you can see Sean Springs here is just giving too much cushion.
Yep.
Isaac Bruce kind of sold that he was going to go deep, and he got Sean Springs to run off a little, and then when he cut underneath him, he was wide open.
First down. Screen pass coming, you can tell it. That's Marshall Faulk. He had to get away from the screen.
Yeah, and they played it pretty well.
Yeah,
I think the Seattle Seahawks defense is playing the screen more than they're rushing the passer, because, you know, that's when you like to throw a screen, is when you're getting a big pass rush. And the Seahawks defense on that play hardly rushed at all.
George Kuntz That's Devin Bush. But they're just retaping his ankle. Warner fakes the Fox, throw back to the other side to Ernie Conwell. Very little yardage, stopped by Chad Brown.
And that was another form of a screen, and Rams have all kinds, but that was where you sprint to the right. You sprint to the right, and then you throw back. Now here's Chad Brown, and you can see he starts to look to sprint right, and then he sees the screen. And you see the minute that he sees the screen, he just runs back there and makes a tackle. But he went for the sprint because everything was going to his right. Chad Brown started there, then he sees the screen developing back, and he did an excellent job of getting back there.
And he's fast enough to get back. Hakeem goes in motion. Dump the pass over the middle to Torrey Holt, and Holt gets across the 25 to about the 23 of Seattle.
Yeah, this is like a great fight. You know, someone throws a hook and then you counter, and this is exactly what I mean. The Seattle Seahawks have a good drive, and then the Rams come right back with a drive of their own. And this is what happens when you get that motion. You know that he becomes the third guy inside. You motion a guy outside of him, and he becomes the third guy in, and usually ends up in a linebacker.
Holt goes wide right this time. There's no shift. Shuttle pass. Warner spun around and then shovel it off.
Oh, the thing about, I mean, that's a form of a screen, and the thing about that is you really do calm down the pass rush. And if you notice, this group right here, this front defensive group of the Seattle Seahawks is kind of staying on the line of scrimmage, and they're playing screen, draw, and that shuffle pass more than they're rushing the passer. So it does some good, and not only gives you good plays, but it also takes pressure off.
Kitna doing some studying, getting ready for his next offensive stint. Bruce goes in motion this time. Warner. Bruce close to a first.
He's something. I mean, he just mixes them up, and he gets back there, gets rid of that ball so quickly. But it's not only that, but the guys that he reads. I mean, you see, he has three receivers coming out. He has a deep one, a short one, and one in the middle. He has one outside, inside, middle, and he just picks out the open guy of the three on that side that he's reading.
And he's got the ball on the way before they ever turn around.
Yeah. He has some interesting things that he does. Watch him now when he comes up to the center. He taps the center. That's just enough for a first down.
Just enough.
He taps the center on the left side to let him know there. Then he wipes his hand off on his own back side. And he does that every play. You know, you see that and you wonder, what the heck is that all about? But watch him here. He'll come up. Andy McCullum's the center. He's going to tap Andy McCullum to let him know that he's there. See, right there. And then he didn't take the left hand.
No.
He went on a quick count.
Yep. Holcomb, the ball carrier. They had said that they were going to let him carry the ball a little bit more.
Well, they said that, you know, that Holcomb, even Marshall Faulk says it's not like having a fullback in there. It's like having another tailback in there, because he's not only a good blocker and a good receiver, but he's also a good runner.
Well, he played some tailback in the preseason just to get him used to it.
Let's watch Kurt Warner again here now. Taps to let Andy McCullum know he's there, and then he's not wiping his hand off anymore.
The pass is complete to Jeff Robinson. That's going to be another Ram first down. It'll be first and goal.
That's something. You know, we talked about the guys they've thrown to. That's the third tight end they've thrown to. Roland Williams and Ernie Conwell. And now Jeff Robinson, he's out here. He's lined up as an outside guy. He's the old snapper and third tight end. And he just goes out there, gets to be the outside guy, and just goes down there and turns around, and Kurt Warner throws it to him.
The defender left while that ball was in the air. For Robinson, first and goal. Falks the deep back. Falks in the end zone. And the Rams recapture the lead.
That's what I said. They countered. Seattle had a great drive, and the Rams just countered with one of their own. I mean, this offense is, I mean, you know, you say, how do you stop it? There's no way that you do stop it.
I was going to ask you, how do you stop it?
You don't know where to go. You know, who do you stop? Do you stop Marshall Faulk? Do you stop, you know, the wide receivers? Do you stop Kurt Warner? Do you rush? Do you not rush?
I think if I were coaching against it, I'd go after Kurt Warner. He'd be the first guy I'd try to stop.
And you do that, then he does surgery.
Yeah, he really does.
Start your day with Good Morning Sports fans.
Well, you know what they're doing?
Yeah, that's the way you buy fish there. They have this fish market, and you go and say you want to fish, and the guy picks it up. Okay, here, you want to fish? Boom, then he throws it to the other guy who catches it and then puts it in a thing, and they wrap it in paper and give it to you. That's how you buy a fish.
Why the singing?
The more you have, the more you attract.
Rodgers down the sideline. Into Ram territory. Well, you got to have pretty good hands to catch that fish.
And you have to have pretty good hands to throw that fish.
Yeah.
Woo!
James Cameron, the director of The Terminator, brings you his new series, Dark Angel. The 2-hour premiere kicks off Tuesday, October 3rd, 8 Central on Fox.
You know, it's a good thing that guy got big ears. That watermelon would come right over his face and spoil that paint job.
I think he could use it.
He's so proud of it. No, he's so proud of how he looks that those ears keep that watermelon over the face.
How could you be proud of that look?
He had to be. He had to look at himself and say, let's go to the game.
Ricky Waters slashing for about 8 yards.
You know, one of the things that Mike Holmgren does is script plays. And you look in the first half, they had 13 plays, 75 yards, and they got a field goal. Second half, 11 plays, 62 yards, because he scripts the second half, too, in a TD. But the other drives, 10 plays for just 20 yards. So he's a lot more effective in that those early drives scripted both before the game and at halftime.
2nd and 3, Seattle. And the Rams 4-3. Waters again. He ran hard last week. In spite of the fact that they didn't score a touchdown against Miami, he's running hard again today.
You know, the thing about scripting the plays and then doing it again at halftime is I think that is really probably more effective on a young team, you know, where you can tell all your players, okay, this is what we're going to do. These are going to be our first 15 plays. This is the one we're going to start with.
Is Bill Walsh the guy who started that?
No, Bill Walsh was with Paul Brown.
Yeah.
Paul Brown was the guy who started it at Cincinnati.
Sean Alexander tries for the first. They don't quite make it. I don't believe.
Well, if they didn't make it, this is going to be a big call here. Now, I think you go for it because you know your defense is playing pretty well. You're at the 40-yard line.
Well, he's going to go.
And you just need, to me, it's a quarterback sneak play, though. I think if you call any other play other than a quarterback sneak, you add a little more danger and risk to it.
Kitna asks for quiet. Alexander's deep. They give to Sean Alexander, who breaks for the first down. And almost breaks for more than that.
Sean Alexander is a pretty good short yardage goal line runner. Usually you have your more veteran player do that, not the rookie. And you just see Sean Alexander. He's going to come in here. Center makes a good block. He gets a good lead right there on Fletcher. You see that lead there? That is a heck of a lead block. And Sean Alexander just gets right in behind him.
And keeps fighting. And gets the first down to the 34 of the Rams. Ricky Waters back in the game now. Fake to Waters and Kitna throws. John Dawkins falls forward past the 30.
Is London Fletcher right there. You can see he's going to come in and he's going to make the tackle right there. But he was the guy that they picked up that yardage on because that was a heck of a lead block on him. I mean, he stood up there to take it. He got underneath the shoulder pads, but He got driven out of the hole, too.
Second down. 5 or 6. Call it 6. Kitna behind Dawkins. I think that was a little miscommunication.
Well, Kitna's saying something to Dawkins. I think Dawkins cut a little before Kitna was ready to throw it. You see, it looks like Dawkins runs a slant here. And I don't know, the ball's just thrown behind him. I mean, Dawkins' pattern was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, you can always tell when a quarterback is going to throw to the left when he drops out. You know, when he turns, right-handed quarterback, when he comes and he turns out, then he can throw either way. When he just backs straight out, like Kitna did that last time, he's going to throw to the left.
13 out of 21, 135 yards, 1 interception. That one was the Hail Mary right before the half. That's Floyd Wedderburn, the right guard. St. Louis 20, Seattle 17. 1:09 left in the third quarter.
Yeah, I was just talking about the quarterback. When he turns and comes back, he can throw to the middle of the right, but when he just drops straight back, see 1, 2, 3 like that, he's always going to throw to the left.
And looking in that direction right from the beginning.
Yeah, so I don't know why the timing wasn't there, because the only guy out there was Sean Dawkins, and he looked that way all the time.
I think Sean got hung up with the cornerback a little bit. 3rd and 6. Here's Kitna to Waters, who whirls away from one and gets across the 25 to about the 25 and a half. Todd Light brought him down. This is another 4th down situation coming up.
You know, he's doing a good job as this Todd Weiner right here, the right tackle.
On Kevin Carter.
He's blocking against Kevin Carter, but he's giving him time. You see it, he's really, I mean, you know, Kevin Carter is an all-pro player, and he hasn't been around Kitna most of this day. Now, before I thought they should have gone on 4th down, and I agree with what he did. And then I also want to say I agree with this.
Hepner from 43 yards out. And it is good from 43. And we have a tie.
Mike Holmgren's a heck of a coach.
Yes,
you know, they were embarrassed and last week, and he was embarrassed. It was the first time that he'd ever been shut out in his life in any category. And you know, I mean, as an assistant, a coordinator, or whatever, and it just got to him, and he just said, "I just want to tell you, that's not going to happen again. We are going to get better." And then you look at what a coach goes through at a sideline.
Yeah.
You know, we showed on this field where, you know, you have the sand coming out and you have that black rubber, you know, little pieces of black rubber, and you can see them coming out. Watch right there.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, watch all that black. It's like you make tread marks as you know, like you're starting off and skidding. It's like Robbie Knievel or someone when he starts that motorcycle out.
He's here, by the way.
You know, you leave some rubber on the thing before you go.
Tony Horn back deep for the Rams. 20-20 tie. 20 seconds left in the third quarter. Line drive kickoff. Goes by Horn, and we mentioned he was here. There he is. Robbie Knievel. Son of Evil Knievel.
He's going, go Seahawks. We were just talking about those little pieces of black rubber coming up, and that's how he rides. That's how he starts before he makes those jumps, I think.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. He was telling us about some jumps he has coming up. He has 3 of them.
Yeah. Jump over Buckingham Fountain in Chicago.
Some falls in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be a little goofy to do that. I mean, in all due respect, he was on the bus. I mean, a little goofy, I think. Right?
Yeah, I agree. Here's Warner.
Barely
gets rid of it. to Robert Holcomb, and Holcomb might wish he never caught it.
You have good field sounds down there today. It's just like you're down there and either hitting or getting hit with them.
And that's the end of the third quarter with the score: the Rams 20, the Seahawks 20. Fox NFL Sunday from Seattle will continue after a word from your local Fox station. Lake Washington kind of calm.
I don't know what those boats do out there because they can't get in here, nor can they see in here.
That's Marshall Faulk. This might be the highest above the field that we've ever been. You know that? Husky Stadium.
And then kind of out, too.
Yeah.
And then that's probably because it's a cantilever. This is a cantilever field. And, you know, cantilever, I think, means this stuff where we got this overhang. See, I think when you go up and then you come out like that, that means cantilever. Or that's what cantilever means. So we got a cantilever stadium here. And then we're up above in the cantilever. The cantilever's over our head, and we're up above looking down. Now you're talking.
I wish I understood that. Here's Warner going deep, and he's got Bruce. Isaac Bruce got deep. Jay Bellamy.
This is the thing you're going to see. Isaac Bruce taken inside, and it's a zone. Sean Springs, number 24, didn't get any bump at all, and then Bellamy took a poor angle, and Kurt Warner made a great throw.
And a 50-yard pickup.
You see, if you're going to do that, if you're going to play that cover two, where the corner comes up, he has to get a bump on that outside receiver. If he doesn't, that safety can't come over. Then that safety has to take a better angle than Bellamy did.
So the two mistakes. One made by Sean Springs when he didn't bump him, and the other, the angle taken by Bellamy.
Right, and the thing is that when you have a guy like Kurt Warner, and the guy that you're leaving run free like that is Isaac Bruce, he is going to get the ball to him.
This is a St. Louis timeout, just one left.
St. Louis has scored 30 or more points in 7 consecutive regular season games. They're getting their groove on again.
Yeah, you can contain them for so long, can't you? But sooner or later, they're going to break out. And it's Isaac Bruce here getting past Springs, and it's a nice mismatch. This is the kind of thing Mike Martz likes to get. The speed of Bruce, that's just to slow up to catch that ball. But Isaac Bruce against James Bellamy or Jay Bellamy, excuse me, is going to be a mismatch every time, and it's put the Rams back into scoring position once again. I mean, as well as the Seahawks are playing, it's so tough to contain these Rams.
And here you have the Rams now are attacking, but Seattle seems to be matching them offensively today.
They need to hold them to a field goal here to keep themselves in the hunt, definitely.
2020, St. Louis and Seattle. Opening minutes of the fourth quarter. Marshall Faulk behind Warner. Bruce in motion. Warner looks right, throws right, complete. Right now for a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Next week, we continue our top NFL coverage with another great matchup. Join us 9 p.m. Sky Sports 3 for our first look at the new sensation, Dante Culpepper, as his Minnesota Vikings travel to the New England to take on the Patriots.
2020 score at Husky Stadium, home for 2 years of the Seattle Seahawks while their new stadium is being built. That's Faulk, shy of the first down.
You know, let's look at that big play again that Isaac Bruce caught. You know, and part of the reason that Sean Springs came up is he went for a run fake. And we can see the fake and the thing. Now watch up here, you're going to see the run fake, and then down here you're going to see Sean Springs. Watch it. You see where he fakes the pitch there? Sean Springs is looking in the backfield. That's why he doesn't get a bump on Isaac Bruce. And then Bruce sees Bellamy, and then Bellamy is taking a bad angle, and then Kurt Warner throws a perfect pass.
Hand off to Faulk. Inside the 5, a Ram first down. Jay Bellamy came up to make the stop.
You know, Marshall Faulk is the guy that really makes all this thing go. And Mike Martz talked about it. He said if there's any guy in this offense that we couldn't replace, it's Marshall Faulk.
You think that's true?
Yes, I think that's true because of the way that they play. Because all these formations are made to get a mismatch with Marshall Faulk. And then in doing that, they find a heck of a lot of other stuff open.
Well, the guy who finds them would be hard to replace as well.
Yes, he would.
Touchdown from Warner to Roland Williams, another of the 3 tight ends. I don't know how you stop it.
Maybe I take it back. Maybe Kurt Warner would be the hardest to replace because he can do everything. And you know, he not only, I mean, if there's a guy open like we saw before, he finds him. And he can throw, you know, he can move a little like this, then he can throw off any angle. But if there's a guy open, he always finds him, he always sees him.
And the ball always seems to be right there.
Roland Williams. Yep. He threw that one into a fan. I remember Roland Williams' grandmother last year gave me a bean pie, and you talk about a great bean pie, that was it.
Harry's go.
Kick it off. Sails deep into the end zone. Charlie Rogers.
Let's watch that touchdown.
Excuse me.
No, again, Pat, I was saying, here's Roland Williams here. Now watch the block. First of all, he comes down and blocks and blocks and blocks, and then comes out later. You see him block here, holding his block, holding his block. Then he gets off it. He delays that long, and then as he breaks through it, because there's no one that's going to cover him. You see him here, but watch Kurt Warner here and how he has to wait and wait. He sees the rush coming, he gets away, and then he makes that throw, and then he gets hit. Nothing but I've never seen this guy phased by a hit.
Here's Kitna back to throw and gets it out to his tight end Mealy. Mealy goes out of bounds at about the 43-yard line of Seattle.
An old-fashioned shootout.
Yeah.
This is like the Ram-Denver game, and I think the Rams are going to have a lot of games like this because their offense is so good and so efficient and proficient, but their defense isn't. I mean, you know, they can do to you, but you can do unto them also.
Well, the opponents get the ball so much, but they score so much. Here's Kitna back to throw it. With a lot of time, and he can take off. And he's going to. And he does get the first down. Just stepped out right by the marker.
That's one great thing about being up this high is you can see everything. I mean, you can see all 22, and you can see the distance between everything and know that he's going to get a first down. Now there is a block right there. Woo. That's a decleaner.
That's James Hill.
He's the 3rd tight end.
Yep. And he hit London Fletcher.
Fletcher's going to have to get the cobwebs. That's going to take about 3 plays to get those cobwebs out.
The pitch back to Ricky Waters. And Waters has got some room and another Seattle first down.
They got something going now. You know, we talked earlier about Walter Jones and what a good tackle he is, and he's been doing a great job of pass protection and also run blocking.
If London Fletcher had some cobwebs before that play, he just picked up a few more.
Well, or you get the cobwebs knocked out of you. He got him knocked into him on the play before, and on that last play, he got him knocked out of him.
He got sandwiched. Hit on the draw play to Waters. Ricky Waters whirls down to the Ram 22-yard line.
Seattle's taking it to him.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to stand there and just stand by and let things happen to them. I mean, they're controlling that line of scrimmage. They're making things happen. And Ricky Waters, again, for as strong and as powerful and as quick he is, does have patience in the backfield. You know, and any great runner, you know, just doesn't put his head down and slash. But watch his eyes. I mean, it's his eyes and it's his feet. Yeah. You see, he has the eyes going all the time right and left, and the feet going all the time right and left.
The Rams are coming on a blitz. Kitna gets it out to Max Strong, and Strong is down for another Seattle first down, stopped by Keith Lyle. You know, they're doing this, the word on, excuse me, John, go ahead.
The thing, here's a blitz, and then a bootleg is really a good call where you get the backs going one way and the quarterback comes out the other way, and then the fullback is going to the side of the bootleg. It's a great play against the blitz.
They're doing this with a backup right guard, Frank Beatty. Kitna, he's going to run it. Dives to the 2.5-yard line. The word on Floyd Weatherburn, who left, you remember when he was helped off the field, his left elbow is the problem, and he's going in for x-rays, so this is being done with a backup starting guard.
Kitna saw that face mask right away. Did you see after he was down, he jumped up? Actually, I think it looked like they may have gotten a little more than face mask.
5-yard face mask. Number 35. That's half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
Here's Kitna right here, and you see Keith Lyle just grabs him with that right hand and spins him around. Anytime you get out of position, anytime your feet are out of position, you have to grab. Lyle wasn't in a good position to tackle, so he had to reach his hand out there, and then when he reached his hand out there, he grabbed a load of face masks.
You grab whatever you can grab. In that case, it was a face mask.
Yeah, and that's usually it's the same thing with offensive linemen. When they hold, it's usually because their feet are in bad position. Keith Lyle wasn't in a real good position to tackle Jon Kitna.
First and goal. Kitna gets to Waters, who lunges the second time and came very close. No indication yet.
Well, Kitna's given an indication. He's given an indication that it's about 6 inches. Ricky Waters wanted that touchdown. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And he's good. You know, what do you have to do? And again, what you have to do is the football. The ball has to break the plane. So at some point, that ball has to get over the plane, which is any part of the goal line.
He had to come very close with that second lunge.
I think he was down, and when he went down, when his leg hit the ground, it's where the ball is when his leg went down.
Into the Waters again, and this time he's in. Touchdown, Seattle.
I think Jon Kitna audibleized to that. I heard him say 33 ISO, and I think that play was 33 ISO.
It was 33 touchdown, 32 touchdown.
But the ISO is always when you get the lead. You know, you get your back leading in there. That's the ISO. You isolate a linebacker, and Ricky Waters just runs right in behind him, and there was no question that time about breaking any planes.
To try to tie is good, and they do tie. This looks like it's going to be a matter of who has the ball last.
This is a Donnybrook.
Who would have thought 27 all? Seattle was giving them a battle.
Oh, great drive. Absolutely superb drive from the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, this is a different team to the team we saw last week, and we can see it from the umpire. Ricky Waters going in for his second touchdown of the ball game. It's interesting. We saw this last week with the Rams. They are giving up yards on the ground, and it's happening again here.
Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader beginning with Terry, Howie, JP, and Chris on America's favorite pregame show. Then Jerry Rice and the 49ers take on division rival Marshall Faulk and the Rams. followed by the Giants' battle against the Bears. The Giants a surprising team so far, plus other regional matchups starting at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific next Sunday. Check your local listing. We'll be in Chicago.
Yep, where we'll see those surprising Giants.
Yeah. Tony Horn at the 5. To the 28. Kurt Warner has completed 14 straight passes. The team record is held by Jim Everett. Is 18. The NFL record is 22, held by Joe Montana. So he's hit 14 in a row.
Look at the determination in his eyes. I mean, he knows that this is what he's paid for. I mean, your defense isn't holding them either. So then your alternative is to get into a shootout. You just match them.
Warner drops 15 in a row to the 40 to Isaac Bruce. Wonder how much they all said it, but you don't think about it. Wonder how much they miss DeMarco Farr.
Well, they miss his quickness and his motor. I mean, he was one of those guys that goes all the time, and I think the other players feed off him, and they miss that. Scanona is a guy that is a strong guy, a plugger type of guy, and they probably do miss him a little.
16 in a row. That's Torrey Holt.
This guy, I mean, he makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, Joe Montana, but he reminds me so much of Joe Montana in the way that he does the same thing that everyone else is doing, but he does so calmly. I mean, he goes back there, and guys are rushing. There's people all over him. But look at him just feel and look and look. Now that had to be about his 4th read.
Yeah.
That's his progression, but he went through about 4 receivers on that progression.
Marshall Faulk. That's that delayed draw play again. You got to run it once in a while, I guess.
Well, and they do that, and as I said earlier, that's the thing that keeps the pass rush down a little, is they run so many draws or delay plays and so many screens that if you rush, those things are going to kill you. And if you don't rush, Kurt Warner's going to kill you, and Kurt Warner may just kill you anyway.
It's 3rd about 3, 2 call it. He stands up, coming wide. Kurt Warner, incomplete. Batted down, deflected after 16 in a row. Keep in mind that the Seahawks have all 3 of their timeouts. The Rams are down to 1.
Remember talking to Cortez Kennedy yesterday?
Yeah.
He said one of the biggest things, he said, we aren't going to get to Kurt Warner, but the biggest thing we have to do is get our hands up on our pass rush, and that was a big hands up right there.
Yes, it was. Rogers back deep. Skip turns over. Rogers signals fair catch and makes it with a ram right in his face. I don't know how he made it. Rich Cody is right in his face. The Seahawks take over. 5:21 left. .21 left to play. 27-27 tie at Husky Stadium in Seattle.
There's the 2 head coaches, but how about these 2 quarterbacks? Kitna has been 9 out of his last 10, and Warner was 16 out of his last 17.
That's right.
That's proficiency.
What do you
bad
like?
defense.
Here's Kitna. Back to throw. The ball popped up in the air, and the Rams have it. Kevin Carter, lateral, back to Devin Bush. Things change around in a hurry, don't they?
That's the thing. We were just talking about the defense, that the defense hasn't made many plays on either side, and the quarterbacks were just having their way, and then the defense comes up and makes a big play.
Here comes Carter.
you see, Kitna gets hit by Collins there, and then the ball goes right into it. You see, here Jones is blocking on Collins. Collins gets by him in a blitz, hits him. Kitna lets go of the ball. The ball goes up in the air, and Kevin Carter gets it. See, here's Collins coming from this side. He's going to be the first guy that gets there. See, he gets him right there, and as he tackles him, he knocks the ball out of his hand with his left hand. The ball goes straight up in the air. Carter has it.
Well, I thought he lateraled it. He fumbled it.
Or he could say that he lateraled it.
He could say that.
You know, as he was going down, the ball does come out. I don't know. He kind of looks that way as he fumbles, but you're right. He did fumble it.
And so very quickly, the Seahawks have their work cut out for them.
You know, but the whole thing started off with Todd Collins, and we were talking about, you know, that Walter Jones is really a good tackle. Todd Collins gets on Walter Jones, beats him around that corner, knocks the ball out of Jon Kitna's hand.
Wilkins for the extra point. Today's game is being produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director is Mike Roig. Broadcast associates Charles McDonald and Wayne Wilson. The technical producer is Bob Muller. Pre-game show was produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The senior producer is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill.
You know, and I think if there's anything that the Rams are concerned about, I mean, their special teams are pretty good. Their offense is the best in football, and their defense has some problems. They have some problems rushing the passer, and they have some problems sometimes with coverage. So they, you know, it's not just a walk into the Super Bowl for this team. They do have, you know, some work to do, and that was one of the first times that they got, you know, close in this game to the quarterback.
They're not a big defense. They rely on quickness, and if you figure it out, sometimes you need big. Rodgers returns to the 28.
Watch the ball right here. You know, and sometimes you just have to get some bounces. I mean, Kevin Carter is going up the field, and then the ball bounces right into his hands, and then he fumbles the ball, and it bounces right into Devin Bush's hand.
Sometimes you got to get two big bounces. Here's Kitna back to throw, screen pass to Waters, dropped away, and another interception. It bounced off Waters to Grant Wistrom, and he comes up with the ball.
Oh, look at Holmgren here.
How does that happen?
That's what he's asking. He's saying the same thing. How does that happen? He wants a safe pass just to start this thing off with. And you're going to see Wistrom here. See, he feels that screen.
He sees it coming.
So he started a pass rush, and then he started back. Now, the ball just bounced right off of Ricky Waters. That should never have happened. But Grant Wistrom made a heck of a play. By instead of continue going on the pass rush, the minute that he felt that ball was thrown out there, he just spun, and he was right there to get that ball off of Ricky Waters. I think Holmgren is so upset with that, I think he's going to challenge the play.
Whether Wistrom really caught it before it hit the ground or not, it is a challenge. A Seattle challenge.
But this situation, you know, in the game, at this point in the game, and you do have all your timeouts, I think it's just a good call just to see.
There was control of the interception. We'll review the play.
Wistrom looked like he had it on his right hip, and he might have been juggling it a bit. But he makes a good play nevertheless.
See, the ball comes up. Now here's Grant Wistrom. He has the ball there. Oh, I don't know. I see what they're saying. The thing is, if that's a forward pass, then if Wistrom doesn't have it before it goes down, it would just be a incomplete forward pass. It wouldn't be a fumble.
Right.
You see, now if Ricky Waters caught the ball, or if that were a running play, then it would be a fumble, and Wistrom wouldn't have to catch it in the air.
Right.
Remember they put that rule in this year, or they explained the rule that if you have control of it, but part of the ball does touch the ground, it's still a completion.
That's as a result of that play in St. Louis last year, the game we did, the Tampa game.
Right, which was still a bad call, the Bertie Manuel play.
You can't really tell if he had. Well, look again. This is like the best look. It's on his pad right now. It's funny. It was over at the corner of the picture. You and I both bending over trying to look around the corner.
Look around the corner. Here's what the umpire saw. He's right there. Now he called it. The umpire who sees it that way called it good. Because again, they called it that it's a Rams ball. Grant Wistrom had a brother in college yesterday that I think blocked a big field goal to win a game someplace.
I think he did, yeah. That.
I don't know. If you're a Seahawk fan, you say that ball hit the ground.
If you're a Ram fan,
you say it's good.
He's got his hand underneath it now. But did he always have it?
Yeah, but he's not talking, though, is he?
No. Well, he's hoping.
I think he's saying, please let that be good, because, you know, that can be, and I'm sure they're thinking right now that if they get this ball, that can clinch the game.
Well, remember Monday night, it was Wistrom who made the tackle in the last play of the game.
I always like Grant Wistrom. He's a good player. We had him in the All-Madden team last year.
Yes, we did.
After review, the intercepting player never controlled the football before it hit the ground. Therefore, the pass is incomplete. It'll be second down.
Great call by Mike Holmgren, or whoever was up here in the booth that saw it on the television set and called down and told him to do that. Now here's a reaction.
Oh me.
Man, if he could tackle that official, he's going after someone. He has that look in his eye.
That's a serious look.
The Seahawks dodged a bullet there.
Here's Kitna back to throw it. Dawkins. Flag on the play. Back at the line of scrimmage.
And back at the line of scrimmage is in the area of holding, offensive holding. It can't be against Walter Jones, though. Walter Jones made a heck of a block on Wistrom. It's going to be Seattle's first penalty of the game.
Yep.
But this is a contest here. I mean, watch Wistrom here. I don't
Illegal
think.
Hands to the face. Offense number 69. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Lloyd Wedderburn. Is he back in the game? I guess he is.
He would be the right guard.
Yep.
He's right here. Yep. You see the left hand right there?
Yep.
That's what they're calling. Oh, and he kept it up there too long. You can do that, and you can get away with it if you get it up there and then boom, you bring it back down. But when you get it up there and just leave it up there that long, they're always going to catch that one.
Second and 20. And a running play to Waters. Stopped by Scanina.
Oh, you wonder where that one. You wonder where that one came from. Yeah, because they think that that they're going to have a couple of downs here to try and get it back. Now I know what Mike Holmgren was thinking is, we just got a penalty. Let's get some of it back and then take this third down situation and make it a more manageable situation. But they didn't get enough yardage, and they don't have a manageable third down.
They got 3 yards is all. Third and 17. There's Kitna. Close. It's Dawkins again. Looked like the same pattern that they ran on the penalty.
Do it again, and as you said, this is going to be very, very close to a first down. This is going to be an interesting spot and an interesting mark. think they're going to take a timeout to measure it here. We see Dawkins come across the middle. He is wide open there. Now, again, it's where the ball is. When his knee goes down, it's where the football is, where they spot it. And that's going to be very close. You can see if you look across, it's where that red thing is. It's on that hash mark. And if you look at the hash mark, I would say it's a first down. Look at that red thing in the sideline to the ball. This should be a first down.
It is. That's a big first down, 3rd and 17.
So that run on 2nd down wasn't too bad then, and maybe he got just enough yards on 2nd down to make that catch a first down play.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what happened. He got 3 yards. He had 2nd and 20. And then 3rd and 17. That comes out to a first down. Here's Kitna. Tucks it away. Stopped by Skanina again.
Skanina's made a couple of plays on this drive here.
Yep.
The thing is, the Rams feel that that their defense has to do something now, I think, to throw this Seattle Seahawks. I mean, I think this is the type of thing where you have to come up with a blitz. You have to come up with something that is going to be a momentum change.
2nd and 5. Kitna's had a good day. Drops the throw. Outside, complete. Dawkins slides out of bounds, but he had both feet down before he went out.
Yeah, he was upset with Derek Mays last week, but he wasn't upset with Sean Dawkins, even though he didn't catch a pass. And I think, sometimes that happens. A guy doesn't catch a pass, and you say, look, this guy's a good player. He's a big target. We got to get him the ball, and you work on it all week, and then you get him the ball. Yeah, that's that old deal like a duck. What's that thing where a duck will look calm on the outside and underneath the water, they're paddling like that?
Here's Kitna back to throw. Throws up to Ricky Waters. Waters gets to the Ram 34. Devin Bush made the stop.
And the Seahawks have plenty of time now. In fact, they ought to slow it down a little.
And they've had all 3 of their timeouts.
And, plus the 2-minute warning. So, in essence, they're inside the 35-yard line. It's over 2 minutes, so they still have 4 timeouts.
The middle. This is going to be a touchdown to Darrell Jackson, the rookie from Florida, with a chance to tie it up now at 34.
Boy, did Jon Kitna stand in there that time. He stood big on this whole drive. How about that challenge? That challenge looms big.
Doesn't it, though? A 34-yard touchdown strike from Kitna to Jackson.
The middle of that pass defense of the Rams seemed to be open all day. I mean, they hit Jackson there for the touchdown.
Dawkins,
and that's the area that they've been hitting Sean Dawkins in.
And the extra point ties it at 34. The Rams have only 1 timeout. Seattle has 3 with 2:05 left.
The whole thing, we always talk about starts with protection. Look at the pocket. They formed a perfect pocket around Jon Kitna. Now, if you can do that, he can look, he can see in lanes, he can find his guy, and then he can step up and throw it to him. Jon Kitna, he's getting his read pre-snap, then he's looking to his left, then he's just following the crossing pattern. That's not another read. He picked up Jackson over there in the left.
From the beginning.
And when his eyes started across, that wasn't going to another receiver. That was just following the same receiver.
Tied at 34 with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left.
I was just thinking, after watching the Seattle Seahawks last week against Miami, when they looked terrible, and watching the Rams on Monday night, how great they look, who would have thought this would happen? But this is the greatest thing about the NFL. You never know. That's why you play them.
Well, as you've said many times, you can't tell by just one game. This is Tony Horn. And he lit the fire He's up to the 30. (34-34) tie. This is the 2-minute warning. Rams have scored 30 points for the 8th straight regular season game. That is a new NFL record. It's 34-34. Here's Warner. Shovels it out with his left hand to Marshall Faulk. Now he had the presence of mind to shift the ball from the right hand to the left hand. Is that something?
Yeah, and he's not getting any rest. You see the Seahawks are in a 3-man line here. All they want to do is contain him. And you see the Rams are in a silent count now, going no huddle, and they're holding hands.
Down is Warner. He was down. He was down. Cortez Kennedy had him in the grass. Chad Brown took it into the end zone, but Warner was down. There's so many things in the fourth quarter of this game. Watch Warner's arm now.
It has to be going forward. If his arm is going forward, it's an incomplete pass.
Right.
There's no question his arm was going forward.
We'll review the play.
This one will be reviewed, and this was not by either coach because it's in the last 2 minutes. It's a review called for from upstairs, an official review.
And I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, that's pretty clear. You see, again, the rule is his hand going forward when the ball comes out. His hand was going forward, his arm was going forward, and the ball came out going forward. That's an incomplete pass and not a fumble. You see his hand go forward? Unless they say that his hand went forward and then he held the ball there.
Maybe.
And then fumbled it. That's another thing to look at.
I don't think so, though.
You know, did his hand go forward and then he held the ball and then stopped and then fumbled? And if he did that, then it's a touchdown for Seattle. Whew. What a game! We've had everything in this. This is fun. This is kind of when you think of NFL football and Sunday games and stuff. You hope to see these kind.
But you honestly didn't have that feeling yesterday.
No, I didn't. And you know, as a purist, you know, as a coach, you say you'd like to see better defense, but as a fan, I just love to see a high-scoring game.
This is a booth review called for from upstairs. And Larry Nimmers.
After review, the play stands as called on the field. The pass was incomplete. Quarterback's arm was going forward, and he never got it tucked all the way in. Incomplete pass.
Those of you who watched Detroit beat Washington, that's a final welcome to Husky Stadium in Seattle, where this one has been seesaw all day long. 34-34 the score, and we're at 1 minute and 26 seconds from overtime. 3rd and 7, Rams. Warner gets it to Hakeem. This is what you just missed. Warner, Chad Brown picked up a loose ball and scored for Seattle, but they reviewed and said it was an incomplete pass. And we agree with the call. Warner up the middle. Hakeem again.
You know,
another first down.
The Rams are using a silent count. They're going no huddle and silent count. And watch the linemen are holding hands because the tackles can't hear. So when the guards let go, that's when the ball is being snapped.
This is the last St. Louis timeout. Warner heads over for the sideline. Warner and Mike Martz, first-year head coach. His first 2 games, the one on Monday night and this one, Martz must think, is everything going to be like this? Here's the controversial play that you just missed if you just joined us. Chant Brown picks up the loose ball and scores for Seattle. It was reviewed, and it's called an incomplete pass, with which we both agree. The game summary it's been a heck of a game. That's a pretty good summary. The Rams are ready to go, and Warner's in the shotgun. Kurt Warner. Incomplete. Good coverage on Torrey Holt by Willie Williams. These guys had a good game.
Very good. Willie Williams, you see, backed in. He's backpedaling. And then the thing, when that guy stops, you have to stop, and then you have to, reroute yourself. Willie Williams did a good job of doing that.
They need to get a little bit closer for Jeff Wilkins.
Well, that's what they need. I mean, the first thing they have to think about is getting in field goal range. So they need about 15 more yards.
Here's Warner, and he gets away somehow from the rush, and finally the Seahawks take him down, and that takes them well out of field goal range.
And that's the biggest thing. They were knocked out of field goal range. They don't have any timeouts left.
Clock running 40 seconds. Warner fires down the sideline. Complete and out of bounds is Torrey Holt. And now they're back in range.
That is amazing.
And the out of bounds stops the clock.
This guy is unbelievable. Kurt Warner is unbelievable. And there's no way that can happen. I mean, you're in a prevent defense. You know that you know that they have to get a first down, and you let them get outside like that. That's unbelievable.
We just got through saying what a good game Willie Williams has had.
And then sometimes you get in a big spot like that and you just freeze.
Wilkins to win the game for St. Louis, and he hits, and the Rams take the 37-34 lead. 27 yards.
The way this game's going, it's still not over. The Seahawks are going to get a couple more shots at that Ram defense. But what a play by Kurt Warner. I mean, and the poise that he had just to stand back there, and he's done it all day. I mean, the Rams get you in a bind on defense. They always seem to have a guy running free, but Kurt Warner always finds that guy.
He always finds somebody.
He did the same thing on Monday night.
Yeah.
Remember they're playing Denver, and they get behind. In fact, he threw an interception. They get behind, and boom, he comes right back and does it.
If Monday night was fun, this one has to be a real belly laugh. And it's not over yet.
Yeah, but sometimes it's sometimes you'd like some of those laughers where you have the game under control in the third quarter, and you're drinking Gatorade and a baseball cap on.
22 seconds left. Seattle with all three of their timeouts left. Rodgers back deep for Wilkins kickoff. The knuckler. Rodgers picks it up. And Rodgers back to the 28-yard line where the clock is stopped now with 15 seconds. 15 seconds left. They have all three timeouts again.
I think the bigger thing is going to be the 15 seconds, because in 15 seconds they probably won't even be able to use three timeouts anyway. What they need is a couple plays. Now they don't have to do it in one play. And I would think from this thing you'd want to get one to about the 50 and then get one down to the 30 and work from there. Work that, like 20, 30-yard chunks at a time.
15 seconds left. Kitna drops. Chased by Wistrom. Lofts it out of bounds. 4 seconds. Clicked off the clock.
We just saw Mike Martz take his headset off. That's, of course, the headset that calls the offensive plays, and so his work is done for the day. He knows all he has to do is let his defense hold on here, and then he got another win. 8 more seconds. But I'll tell you, Seattle, no matter what happens here, Seattle has played a great game today against his champion Ram team.
Warner is 35 out of 47. 35 completions, 47 attempts. Career highs for him. Here's a throw by Kitna. It is picked off by the Rams. Time light. And that'll bring it to a close. Mike Holmgren disgusted. You're hard to say you shouldn't be disgusted, but it's hard not to be.
Both those teams fought each other today. I mean, these were. It was about offense. It was about two very good offensive coaches.
This is Pat Summerall for John Madden and DJ Johnson saying so long from Seattle, where once again the final score is the Rams 37, the Seahawks 34. Right now we're going to take you to bonus coverage of the New Orleans Saints against San Diego Chargers.